What if thought leaders from around the university came together to discuss state-of-the-art remedies to 21st century challenges? Florida Atlantic University's faculty are pioneering education through cutting-edge solutions such as artificial intelligence, authentic assessment, and active learning. Join us as our faculty forge new paths to the future of higher education. From the Center for Online and Continuing Education, this is Faculty Lounge Live.
Hello and welcome to Faculty Lounge Live. My name is Aubrey Jacques and I'm an instructional designer here with the Center for Online and Continuing Education. I'll be your host for today's session, and today marks our final session before the holiday break, but don't worry, we'll return on Monday, January 13th, 2025 with another riveting topic to kick off the new year. I'm thrilled to be joined by an incredible panel here at the table. To my left, we have Frando Patterson, who has served as the Director of Teaching and Certification at the FAU Boca campus since December 2007. In this role, he is responsible for the development of testing programs, the supervision of testing center staff, the test administration and scoring, budgeting, compliance, with vendor agreements, as well as policies and marketing initiatives. He oversees the testing centers at both the Boca Raton and Davie campuses, which includes a Prometric lab. And before joining FAU, Frando was the testing supervisor at Tennessee State University, where he began his career in 1993 and spent 15 years. Hello, Frando, and welcome.
Thank you.
To my right, we have Dr. Shireen Lalla, who serves as the Senior Associate Director for Testing and Certification, overseeing the testing center at the Davie campus. She has dedicated over 20 years of service to FAU, during which she has made significant contributions to the field of test administration, impacting both state and national standards. Her expertise in test security ensures the integrity and reliability of all testing procedures, safeguarding the academic standards and trust of the university community. Hello, Dr. Lalla, and welcome. And last but certainly not least, we have Dr. Dan Meeroff, who serves as a professor of civil engineering and the dean of undergraduate studies here at FAU. His PhD is in civil engineering civil and environmental engineering. My apologies. He received this from the University of Miami. His specialization is environmental engineering, specifically solid and hazardous waste management, water quality, wastewater engineering, drinking water treatment, air quality, watershed management, public health engineering, and pollution prevention. As dean, he also focuses on undergraduate research, educational high-impact practices, and student success initiatives at the university level. Dr. Meeroff is the founder and director of the Laboratory for Engineered Environmental Solutions and was awarded the FAU Teaching Prize for Excellence in Undergraduate Education in 2017, the FAU Distinguished Research Mentor of the Year in 2015, the John J. Guerrera Engineering Educator of the Year for North America in 2014, and the FAU Distinguished Teacher of the Year as voted by the student body in 2014, which is also the highest teaching honor at the university. He has over 26 years of experience in environmental issues with over $12 million in funded research and 120 publications. Hello, Dr. Meeroff, and welcome. And thank you all so much for being here today. Together, they'll share their insights and strategies to address one of the most pressing issues in higher education today, which is academic integrity in the age of technology and artificial intelligence. We'll discuss challenges, solutions, and how we can work together to uphold honesty and fairness in our classrooms. Lastly, we ask that you hold all of your questions till the end. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So, Dr. Meeroff, tell us a little bit about the updated FAU 4.001 policy and some misconceptions that students have about what constitutes academic dishonesty, particularly in relation to AI.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting us. I think it's really important to set some context. So first, we should all be clear that no matter what precautions that we take, students have access to all of our old exams and assessments. As a faculty member myself, I took extreme security measures, but if I do a simple Google search, you can find nearly all of my previous assignments, exams, lab reports. They're all compromised. They're available on the internet. There's videos on YouTube with students going over the answer keys to exam questions. There are full lab reports that you can find online, problem sets that are available, solution manuals to all of my textbooks. You just have to assume that all students have access to all of our previous assignments and the solution manuals, as you can see there on the screen. There's another set of websites where students can post their answers that you can see there on the screen right now. So despite never turning them back into students, they all have access to them, and Shireen will talk a little bit about how they get access to those in a moment. Next, I wanted to touch on the pressures that FAU students in particular face. So we conduct a survey, the Beginning College Student Survey of Engagement, each summer to collect data on our student profile for students entering FAU. And the story tells us that about 60% of our first-year students and almost 3/4 of our transfer students, they work more than 10 hours a week. On top of that, 85% of our transfer students are commuting at least 1 hour one way each day to school. And also nearly half of our transfer students are caring for a dependent at home, which is either a child or an older adult in the household. And then even more concerning is for our first-year students, that less than 1 in every 10 of our students have written a term paper, a paper of 5 pages or more in high school before coming to FAU. So what this information tells us is that our students have very little precious time outside of class to engage in learning. And as faculty, we need to be able to adapt to that new knowledge and provide some more active learning opportunities to reduce those shortcuts or reduce the temptation for students to go to shortcuts like perhaps cheating. Now I want to address the question about academic integrity. So FAU has a regulation 4.001, which governs our academic dishonesty. And we've created a faculty toolkit, and it is available 2 different websites, one through the Provost Office Memo website and another through the Student Affairs website. And it has the visual flowchart with all the responsibilities for a faculty member. And then it has, in addition, the Office of our General Counsel has created letter templates for each step of the process. For example, template 1 is the instructor's initial request for a meeting with the student. And if the faculty member happens to be also the chair, there's templates for the chair's communications with the student. And if the faculty member is part of the Dean's Council, there's a template for that process as well. So those 2 websites have all of the information that's being updated constantly by Faculty Senate on how to respond to an alleged violation of academic integrity. Now, back in August of this year, 4001 regulation was amended, and it included specific reference to unauthorized use of artificial intelligence, as you can see there on the screen. And then in the listed examples for cheating, it also talks about artificial intelligence tools and unauthorized use of those. For example, as you can see, 1D in cheating previously spoke about securing the entire exam as an example of cheating. It currently now states any exam item, to try to tighten that a little bit. And then as for the definitions of plagiarism, we also included the unauthorized use of AI. And also there's reference to proper quotation and citation. So in our website, www.fau.edu/AI, there's a whole section on how to do proper citation for using AI if it's authorized in the classroom. Now I want to address the original question about student misconceptions. This arises because faculty have all kinds of different levels of tolerance for academic dishonesty. And the first step is it is absolutely essential for us to communicate our expectations to the student at the assignment level, not just what we were expecting at the assignment level, but also what the penalties might be if academic integrity is involved. And then students have, or we as faculty, we need to know the students have courses in which AI is highly encouraged and where AI is prohibited, and everywhere in between. So as you may know, in the simple syllabus, you can go in and you can select one of those three options, as you can see there on the screen. But we all know that just putting it into the syllabus is certainly not enough. So we're recommending that faculty communicate that expectation at every assignment, not just in general at the syllabus level. And then students need to know what is considered cheating, what are the penalties, because the penalties are up to the faculty member and they can be different. If they're taking 3 different classes and they do the same exact thing, the penalty could be different in each class. I just want to finish this kind of questioning with a quick example that we all should be familiar with, right? So we all know that if we're going like 90 miles an hour on I-95, that's speeding, and we might get caught. And it's just human nature that we do it. Everyone here on the table has done it. Everyone in the audience has done that before. And sometimes you got caught, sometimes you haven't. But it's human nature to be surprised when you actually do get caught, and you blame others for singling you out when everyone else was doing the same thing. Why they caught me? So we put ourselves in the shoes of the student for a moment. You realize that this is just part of human nature. So what I wanted to finish up with is that the first time that academic dishonesty is found to occur, the student is put on notice, and they need to learn that lesson quickly at FAU, because the penalty for the second academic integrity violation is very severe. It is automatic expulsion from the university with no possibility to return.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for that. Now, although we do have this 4.001 policy and we're always making amendments to it, cheating is always evolving. So, Dr. Lalla, what are the most common methods that you have seen in cheating that you've observed in FAU's testing and certification centers, particularly involving technology like AI?
Thank you, Aubrey. So I've been in testing for close to 2 decades. So I've seen it from the inception, from where students would bring in simple cheat sheets into the center. They would bring in food to cheat. And that might sound very surprising, but we had a cheating ring of students who basically, there would be a puppet master, someone that was the head of the group, who would say, I know the answers to this particular test. And then they would bring in, like, let's just say fruit. So A was for apple. He would question number 1, he would put an A on his desk, or B for number 2, things like that. Then we saw students altering the labels from water bottles and Coke bottles. There are templates online where they would just edit the text out and put in their notes in there. So then we took charge and we said no food or drink, because the thing about it is that at the end of the day, when somebody is caught, they will tell you the purpose of why they're cheating. And most of the time that we've seen it, it's usually revenue based. So they would have like a group where it would say you would memorize from questions 1 to 10, you would remember all the questions, and then from 10 to 20, and then they would go along and they would do some kind of like a dump. And there would be kind of a circle, and then to get access to the professor's questions, you would have to purchase access somehow or selling. So I've seen at the testing center, because we do high stakes testing as well, and we do student-based testing, and we also test for the community. So there are lots of medical professionals that come into the testing center, engineers, we have CPA exams, things like that, where their livelihoods are on the line. So then, they take extreme measures to cheat. And I think it's really important to note, like, for example, when a test is compromised at a high stake level, it can take up to $100,000 for that certifying board, let's just say like the LSAT exam, to basically to create a new test with psychometricians. So there's a lot of money to be had. And the way AI is used, I'm going to show some technology based items that's candidates have used to cheat in the testing center. So this is an earpiece. As you can tell, it's very discreet. It's flesh colored, the one on the screen. It's actually has a very long range. So we discovered a candidate communicating with someone outside the testing room where he was feeding the answers to the questions. And this was a cheating ring. So they were getting the exam for the certifying exam and basically selling it on the internet. And then we have an example of a credit card. So it looked like exactly like a credit card. There's some exams in the testing center where we require candidates to bring in a credit card to pay for a certain portion of the test. And it looked, and this is an example of something that we caught, it looks like a credit card, but as you can tell, it's a full-fledged technological device that has like an earpiece to it. It actually had a camera. So capturing those exams, like what Dean Meeroff was saying, but how did the exams end up on the internet? These are examples that we found in the testing center. And then the clothing. So we had a student who came in to take a makeup exam who basically went to a printery and basically put his exam notes onto his shirt, and you can see it on the corner there on the right hand side where it's flipped up, it's upside down, so he's able to read his notes while he's taking the exam. And it's extremely clever. At first we did not notice because it looked just like a graphic tee, but on further examination it was a geology exam, and we noticed the maps, the rock formation, things like that. And you may have already seen like these Bluetooth devices, these are Bluetooth enabled devices. So you have the running shoes with a display. One of the most important things that we've learned in the testing center is that we require students and candidates to turn off their cell phones. So they do not, they cannot access Bluetooth enabled wearable devices. So you'll see the tie that's on the screen. So we had a candidate all dressed up in a tie jacket. Usually candidates come in, dressed for comfort to take exams. This particular candidate came in dressed with a tie. It was actually a camera. So he was taking snapshots of his exam. And then I think we're all very familiar with smartwatches. But beyond that, there's smart jewelry. So they're bracelets that are Bluetooth enabled, as well as rings that are Bluetooth enabled. So we've caught these, and we want to make faculty aware that these wearable devices do exist, and they're extremely affordable. These items can cost anywhere from $10 to $20. They're not an exorbitant amount. And when we have students paying close to $10 for a cup of coffee at Starbucks, this is nothing for them to purchase. And what you have in your screen right now is a really clever device that we stumbled upon. We had a student come in. He was allowed for his makeup exam to have a calculator. And upon further inspection, he bought a shell from the internet. So this is from Amazon, where he placed his cell phone in to that shell. So and when we opened it up, his cell phone was right in there, but it presented as a calculator. And then these are some other gadgets that we've stumbled upon. The spy pen. We do not let our students bring in any of their writing utensils because unfortunately we have been burned by these. So that spy pen that you're looking at there is something that we caught. It has a camera in it. It also has a microphone to it. And it's very easy to upload what the data that's on there because it has a flash drive. And then the key fob, it looks like a very simple key fob, but it has a microphone, it has a camera as well. And then I think we're all familiar with the Google Glass, and Ray-Ban has a new, very discreet looking glasses right now as well. So we do check students' eyewear when they come to the candidate. So now what I want to do is I would like you all to listen to an example of cheating with AI. So there's an exam that we offer online. It's a remote test, but it's monitored, meaning that there's it is reviewed, where we have a student who had his cell phone out, knowing he's fully on camera, and he's asking Siri to assist with his civic literacy exam, which is a mandatory test that SUS students have to take to graduate.
Hey Siri, what Supreme Court case accused crimes must advise their Fifth and Sixth Amendment right upon their arrest?
So yes, so that is a very blatant example of a student using AI to cheat on his exam.
Wow, those are some of the most innovative but scariest examples that I've ever seen. And as a former educator, I can say that I'm very grateful that I don't have to deal with that ever-changing world. So you all are doing amazing work. Frando, how does the Testing and Certification Center educate faculty and students about academic integrity policies, especially the new AI-related changes?
That's the easiest question. Next to the easiest question you can ask me. We have a workshop for faculty that's called Cheaters Never Win, and that's displaying number 3. And in August, it will be number 4. But I'm going to piggyback on what Shireen says. If you can imagine that happening in a testing center, you can look at what's happening in the classroom. You're not going through the security procedures that we do at a testing center to the point that we want you like a TSA in a way. So people always describe that. And so you're going to empty your pockets out. You're going to put the watches up. One of the labs we have is prometric. You can't even wear jewelry in it. No hanging jewelry and so forth. So technology changes constantly. This workshop that we provide for you in August, you should come to it because we can bring you up to date on the things that are happening. AI is growing every day. It's getting smarter, and you to do a correct assessment of your students, this workshop would help tremendously.
Thank you so much for that. And be sure to register for that workshop and look for more details next August. Dr. Lalla, what strategies have been most effective in deterring cheating during exams, and how can these strategies be scaled across FAU?
So as I stated before, we do test very high stakes exams, and a lot of our test security policies are enacted by our testing vendors and basically from our own experience. So when we've seen that very high proliferation of those cheating aids coming into the testing center, we set forth a lot of policies about limiting items in the desktop and making sure you lock everything up. Students are not allowed to bring in their own writing utensils. Things of that nature. We really want to emphasize, though, that security comes in 3 parts at the testing center. You have the beginning of the test, and then you have the actual administration and the end of the exam. So it's just basically your entry into an exam is identification. And it's really important for us to make sure that we authenticate that identification. We had an example of a husband basically presenting himself as his wife. He doctored ID and basically with her name on it, and he dressed as her and came in to take one of her exams. And basically, as we train our test proctors how to authenticate an exam. If it's flimsy things, what to look for, you look for the holographic design. And then we also had a father, we give an exam as an entrance for FAU High, and we had a father come in and pose as his son, utilizing his son's ID to get into the test. So that is called cheating by proxy. We take that very seriously. And what happens when we have to report that? If it happens from a student from the student, we report it to the faculty, and then as far as an outside community member, we reported to the testing body. And I know that a lot of you have been seeing cheating in the news of late. Most recently, the New Orleans Police Department had to stop all the promotion exams because their exam was compromised. So even at that level, and we're talking about a job that requires so much ethics, there's still been breaches. The CPA exam was compromised by Ernst & Young employees. They actually had to pay over $300 million in restitution because the exam was compromised, and then the candidates were sharing the exams. And these are very high-level analysts as well. So there are multiple parts to proctoring effectively. So during the administration process, we do something called active proctoring. That means that we walk around, like the students know that they are being monitored. So we do walkthroughs, and what we're looking for slips of paper. We're looking for students who are talking out loud during the exam because they may have those microphones that I showed in the previous in my previous question asked. So those are behavior that we kind of look for. And at the end of the exam, basically candidates, they have to give us back everything that we gave to them. That means that every scratch paper, definitely our writing utensils, because it's really important for us to account for everything. Because if you take a scratch paper out of the testing center, that's a violation, and that's grounds for dismissal. And if you're taking a certifying exam, a medical exam, that can ruin your career.
That was, wow, a lot of that example of the husband dressing up as the wife, that I was trying not to laugh during that. So Frando, what tools or resources do you recommend for faculty to monitor and mitigate cheating effectively during exams?
That's the easiest question.
I thought the other one was the easiest question.
Our workshop again, I just think if you will learn so much at the Cheaters Never Win workshop that things like this you will be abreast for. When you go and you are proctoring your exam, we're going to show you things that you should look for. You're not as in debt as a testing center, but you still are trying to do an assessment. And so you want that assessment to be fair for everybody, but you're not having the students to pull out their pockets and so forth. But we will show you some stuff in this workshop that will truly help you. Cheating happens. And one of the things I always say to the dean is, what is your tolerance level? What is your tolerance level? If someone steals a penny versus $1,000, that's cheating. That's stealing. If somebody had a piece of note paper with some answers on it, and you didn't, and you called it, what are you going to do? What exactly are you going to do when that happens? And so that's what our workshop is about, is to enlighten you, to make you think, when you are given an exam, this is an assessment, and integrity is involved. And so please sign up for it. That's the second plug I made for it. But I think I can go on and on here, but in that workshop, we can be a little more specific to help you mitigate issues that you might have when you give an exam.
Awesome. Thank you. And Dr. Meeroff, what innovative strategies have you seen or implemented that effectively promote academic integrity of all assessment types across courses as well as disciplines?
Well, first, we have an amazing opportunity to redesign all of our course assessments in order to modernize our classes. So assessment needs to be meaningful, it needs to be authentic. We need to be thinking about how we target those human skills. We need to be thinking about how we can evaluate something different, like perhaps editing or revision of a scaffolded assignment, or let's say evaluate something like an oral argument, or the solution process itself, not just the final answer. So we need to migrate away from these kind of high stakes assignments or assessments in our classrooms and look at maybe migrating towards away from multiple choice and going towards like performance-based assessment. We have a fantastic website. It's www.fau.edu/AI, and there are wonderful tools and resources there to help faculty redesign their course, look at different ways of doing assessment, look at how to implement active learning strategies, for example. We also have AI assignments or AI-rich assignments or AI-proof assignments available in Canvas Commons. There's also the AI Playground that's offered through COSI. We have a rich treasure trove of evidence-based teaching practices that are available on that website. Other institutions are copying from our website, for example. These kind of approaches, they amplify learning. They discourage academic integrity. They really allow us to look at what the student brings to the table and not what the student is bringing with AI. Something like our state has created this Falcon Alliance as well. So that's another option that you could sign up for an interest group in the Falcon Alliance, and you meet with other faculty across the state, from our state colleges all the way to the SUS schools. And there are working groups all the time looking at various strategies that can be effective. For example, some faculty are worried about how can I implement this in a large classroom environment, or how do I do this in a general education course, for example, with lots of different majors. So there are working groups working on that. Another thing that I always promote to faculty is the ACUE training, ACUE, that's offered for free through the Office of the Provost. I've gone through that certification myself before the pandemic, and I did the advanced certification last year, and I find it to be really, really helpful with lots of different approaches to becoming active learning. I think you already showed that I have some teaching awards, but I never got like active training into how to be a teacher. I emulated my favorite teachers, and that was how I got to learn about pedagogy. I think in this case, this is really formal training. And what is so nice is that you have to implement something that week and then reflect on how it worked and how you would implement it better next time. So there's continuous improvement as well. It gives you a really good kind of like approach to use in the classroom when you are not involved in the training. And so one thing I really want to do is encourage all faculty to reach out to me, to my office, and share those experiences that work, because faculty are always looking for good solutions. And if you have something that works, I would love to share it with others.
Awesome, thank you. And those are some amazing resources. And I just wanted to really just highlight something really noteworthy of what you said, which is that fau.edu / AI website, that where other universities are kind of coming to us and grabbing resources. So that's really encouraging to hear from all the various different departments that are working on that, COSI included, OIT, that we're kind of now leading in a way. So that's great. So thank you so much for that feedback. And before I ask you one more question, I know that it does take time for us to type out our questions online. So I wanted to provide you some time, for those of you who are watching at home or in your office. Any questions that you may have, you can go ahead and start typing them out while I go over one last question with Dr. Meeroff. So what do you see are some of the future challenges and opportunities with regards to informing students about academic integrity here at FAU?
I think the single most important thing that I've mentioned and touched on in several of these questions is that we really need to inform the students. The communication to the students is critical. What is the level of tolerance? What are the expectations for each assignment? And what are the penalties for academic integrity violation? Because the student is taking 3 or 4 other classes with other professors who have different levels of tolerance and different expectations and different penalties. So one of the things that we have identified is that the faculty toolkit that I presented today, it's all based on the faculty's perspective. So we're working on something now that looks at the student's perspective. So the student it needs to be made aware of their due process rights. When there is a communication that one of those letter templates comes to the student, they should not ignore it. It's a very serious accusation. I already mentioned the second penalty is expulsion. So we're working on Canvas modules right now to launch that toolkit that is student focused. It's very close to being launched, by the way. So we should have it soon, certainly by the end of summer. And those Canvas modules can be available to students at any time, so they understand how they should respond, what kind of evidence they can bring to clear their name if they are innocent in this case, and then how to navigate the appeals process. That's always a challenge. And then there's also for the first violation, the students can take a seminar to expunge the violation from their temporary transcript, or the preliminary transcript. And I think so the students will then become more informed. Faculty are already becoming more informed through the faculty toolkit. I still think our major challenge going forward is that there'll be new technologies that we haven't even envisioned as AI grows daily. As it evolves, we have to be constantly innovating as faculty to stay one step ahead. That's a huge challenge. But we cannot just recycle our classes anymore. We have to be able to understand what the environment's like. I saw a survey this morning that more than 65% of students are admitting that they use AI in every single assignment that they use. So that's everyone cheating, if you want to say, if your class is not allowing AI to be used, for example. So students are using it, becoming more familiar with the tools, and we have to make sure that they learn to use it responsibly, because if we don't allow them to use this tool that is now going to be necessary for their careers, we're doing them a disservice. But if we allow them to use it and create bad habits where they're being dishonest, that's also a disservice. So we have to absolutely let students know that they can benefit from learning how to use AI responsibly, and that those key life skills will be the foundation for their future career.
Yeah, I completely agree, because that goes back to AI is like this new shiny toy, and all of a sudden we're telling them, no, you can't touch this new shiny toy, but you still have to do all of your coursework. So providing, and this is where I'm going to do my plug, but providing AI assisted assignments. So if you actually go on to Creative Commons, we here at the Center for Online and Continuing Education have actually created some AI assisted assignments, at least 60 different AI assisted assignments that you can actually tailor to your course to help with creating that environment of, yes, you can use AI, but to help assist you and not think for you. So definitely something that we're really trying to do here at FAU. But I do see we have a question online.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. So Sierra Mincy is asking the following question. How do you stay up to date with all the new ways that students use AI in assignments?
It's the workshop. It's the Cheetahs Never Win workshop.
I imagine if you gave it to me, you can come to our workshop, because we're always perusing the website to see what is the newest thing. And I'm part of NCTA, which is a National College Testing Association. And we are always going back and forth among each colleges and university, way people are cheating. I'm part of an integrity workshop. It's one of the academic integrity workshop that I do, that I'm part of with this group. And we are always looking at ways that people do that. And so that's, I think the most important thing is we can give it better to you in our workshop that we will have in August, because you're right. It is always changing. It is always changing. And I'm part of a listserv, and this listserv is always talking about someone doing something with AI on an exam. And a lot of our state colleges or junior colleges do classroom tests. And unfortunately, our FAU testing center really doesn't do classroom testing, but some of the state colleges are always telling us how what people are doing in the classroom with the classroom testing.
And I just want to highlight another resource that I think is really important. It's called the Cheat Sheet. It's a newsletter that comes out weekly, and it's compiled with about cheating incidents that are happening not just nationally but globally. So I really encourage you, just if you go to just Google and type in cheat sheet, and you can see what new technologies that are coming out, know how, what students are using, new AI assisted devices that are out there that they're using for their assignments and such.
I want to say also in the workshop, we have faculty from all different disciplines and backgrounds. And it's not just a Sage on the Stage workshop. It's also, there are breakout sessions. So it's kind of like a faculty learning community format. So if you have like a specific challenge, you might be in a breakout session with other faculty who have tried some things. Either they have tried some things that failed epically, or they tried some stuff that's actually working and they're doubling down on that or expanding that. Another thing that that I wanted to share with is that AI tools currently have trouble with personalized assignments. So for example, you were talking about using some AI tools. So in a class that I taught before becoming dean, I instituted an assignment where students had to use JobScan, which is an AI tool, and they have to find their dream job, which cannot be replicated among the classroom because everyone can't have the same dream job. And then you have to apply for that job, and then the AI tool gives you some hints and some ways to personalize your application materials to have a better score of getting that job, right? So I tested that out myself because I was going for a dean of undergraduate studies. So I put my stuff through JobScan and I got the job. So it's not a bad tool to use, right? So I think these kind of things, like you immediately know when a student is making an authentic effort at the assignment, because it's something that it will benefit them outside of the university. Once they finish the class, they hopefully get this really great job. And so we're just preparing them to get that interview, and then the rest is up to them.
No, that's awesome. Well, an amazing job for using AI to help you get your current position. And that's a perfect example of how you can use AI in today's world. So that is a wrap, actually, for today's session of Faculty Lounge Live. A big thank you to our amazing panel, Frando Patterson, Dr. Shireen Lalla, as well as Dr. Dan Meeroff, for their valuable insights and expertise. We hope that today's discussion inspired you to think critically about academic integrity and the role that we all play in promoting honesty in education. As we head into the holiday break, please take this time to reflect, recharge, and return ready for another exciting semester. Remember that we'll be back on Monday, January 13th, 2025, with more bi-weekly engaging topics and conversations. Also, our next playground event will be Friday, January 10th, 2025, and you can register for these events at techevents.fau.edu. Until then, happy holidays, and thank you for being a part of our Faculty Lounge Live community, and see you next year.